Welcome back to this channel where you grow your skills in digitization. Alright, in this video we're actually going to be looking at what graphic design is, what graphics design is. What is graphics design? You know, when you talk about graphics, it entails a lot of things, more especially visuality and so on and so forth. So we're going to be looking at this in a nutshell. So what is graphics? Now, before we delve into what graphics is, we'll be talking about the introductory part to graphics, the element and principle of graphics design. We would also look at tools used in graphics design and the scope of graphics. Now, the purpose of this course is actually going to be the preliminary phase of graphics. So, basically, is to convey the idea of the knowledge to you, so you'll be able to understand basically what graphics is in a nutshell. So that's what we're actually going to be doing now. All right, let's dive in. Now, what is graphics? When you talk about graphics, what comes to your mind? This first of all has to do with blending creativity and communication to visually convey idea and messages. Very important, because when you talk about graphics, it means you therefore have to convey messages and ideas by means of your blending creativities. Yes. Now, graphic in itself involves images, typography, colors and layouts to create captivating design for various purposes. Yes, you must understand. Yes, because when you talk about graphics design, basically branding falls around that jurisdiction, ideas falls around that jurisdiction, style falls also around that jurisdiction. Then you also have visual creativity and so on and so forth, project, product and so on. So that is what in a nutshell, when you talk about graphics design, it has the power to leave a lasting impression, making it an essential tool for effective visual storytelling. Yes, you must be able to understand this fact when it comes to graphics. And still in graphics, you must understand the fact that there are two key features which one a graphic designer has to really consider whenever he or she is making any design. First, you must understand what a background is, and you must understand what a foreground is. Now, these two augment each other. A background augments the foreground also augments the background. Yes, so we'll be delving into this in more details as we digress with this course. All right, now let's talk about a few types of graphics. Now we have the 3D kinds of graphics, as you can see in the picture here, where you have the phone. The 3D kind of graphics now is a graphic that consists of X, Y and Z axis. Yes, X, Y and Z axis, as you can see. We also have infographics, a graphics that tells an information about a particular idea. Now in most cases you have to play around shapes to be able to come up with one or two designs that speaks about that. Now from the word info, you have infographics. So basically it's infographics conveys the idea of an information to your viewers. Yes, then we also have iconographics. Now in most cases, from the word icons, we got iconographics. Now icons, logos and most of them, they fall into that same category. We also have the vector graphics as well, and we have raster. Now raster graphics is more like the authorification of maybe a 2D graphics. We'll give you more of the raster graphics. We'll still talk about this as we digress. Now next on the list is we're going to be talking about some elements, key elements and principles of graphics design. Now as a graphic designer, the first thing that you should also be acquainted with is color. You must understand what color combination works. You must understand what are the different types of colors. You must also understand what are primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors. You must understand what are RGBs. Yes, you must understand all of this when it comes to color, because for you to be a very good graphic designer, you must understand what color and color combinations are. The next thing is resolution. Now when it comes to resolution in most cases has is more like the resultant effect of dimensions of a particular graphics. And for you to bring about talk about dimension, then you have to talk about pixel. And so the number of pixels that are present in a dimension forms the resolution. That's another thing you should know. So in most cases you hear some graphics are not clear. Maybe you happen to share a particular graphics design through any of the social media, maybe probably through WhatsApp or through any platform that reduces the quality. You find out that there is an notification in the number of pixels. And another thing you should know is that every graphics are made up of vertices in most cases, and so these vertices is what leads us to pixel, because each of these vertices in itself, or in that case, becomes a pixel. So you should understand that resolution matters. And so when you talk about resolution, it also has to do with the aspect ratio of that particular graphics you're working on. Yes, resolution, the aspect ratio as well. Is it 16 by 9? Is it 1080 by 1080? Is it 1080 by 720? What are you really working in terms of resolution? So you should understand that. Then we have shapes. As a graphic designer, you must be able to alternate shapes. You must be able to play around shapes very well. Now we have texture. As a graphic designer, you must understand what texture is and be able to manipulate texture in order to be able to get a vivid and a very appealing design. Then pixel as an element is very also important, because before you start talking about dimension, the pixel has to be there. So the much number of pixel you have within a dimension determines how determines the clarity of your graphics design and quality. Yes. Then alignment, especially when you're making your designs, you must ensure that you pay attention to the margins. So you don't want your work to be one-sided and not justified. Yes. So moving forward, we also look at what JPEG is. Now JPEG, the full meaning of JPEG is actually a joint photographic extract group. Now these are some formats in which you can use in saving your graphics. Now it's very important to pay close attention to this with these formats. Now PNG is also a format which means portable network graphics. Now in this case, JPG in most cases is a little bit lower compared to PNG. Now PNG in most cases are used for transparent graphics. In its case, maybe you want to, it depends on what you're working on, but maybe you want something that have probably to save something that probably has a transparent background and so on. You can make use of that. Now we have SVG as the next one, which has to do with scalable vector graphics. Now in this case, this scalable vector, in most cases it could be used for logos. Yes, logos. That's why when you talk about graphics design in branding, you must understand how far your logo is supposed to travel, more especially if you want to prepare a viable logo for a brand. You must understand how far that logo is traveling, because that's going to sponsor what format you're supposed to use and how you're supposed to get the logo design. Now we have typography as the next one when it comes to graphics design. Now in typography, you must understand how to place text. You must understand how to use text. You must understand different text formats. You must understand different text fonts and font size. You must understand what italic is. You must understand bold of text. You must understand underlines of text. So you should, in a nutshell, understand how to place your text placement as typography. Then avoid errors or replication. It depends depending on the what subject matter you're actually working on. The next is composition. Now your graphics has to be composed. It has to be composed. You don't want to place things that is going to stand against each other, or more like using an anti color as a background, and your foreground is not really augmenting the background. So imagine somebody using a black background and using a black typography. I think nobody's going to see what your or understand what your graphic is. You understand? Or you use maybe a darker color at the background, then use a darker color at your text. It's going to also affect the clarity. If you look at these graphics at the right hand part of your screen, you can see very well that the background is white and the text color augments by the background. So in very in a nutshell, it's very clear. You could understand what the message this graphics is trying to portray. Now the next thing is contrast. You must understand what contrast is as a graphic designer, because when it comes to contrast, you don't want you must understand how to brighten what you need to brighten, how to make transparent what you need to make transparent, how to dim what you need to make dim, just because you need some other things to come. So let's assume you're making using a picture for a background. You wouldn't want to just put the picture like that. You must understand how to fade some part of the picture, so that if you're writing a text in the foreground, it will be able to be pronounced visually for someone to be able to understand the idea you're trying to pass across. All right, so there are different tools when it comes to graphics. One of them is Adobe Illustrator. Now mind you, Adobe is a company on its own. So these are some of their products: Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop. You could use all of this for design, CorelDRAW, Adobe XD, Affinity Design, and so on. Canva is also an online or a web-based platform that enables you to make designs. Now it's very important for you to understand that when it comes to the scope of graphics, the future of graphics is very promising. Yes, advancement in technology will continue to shape the field, leading to first of all increase in demand. It will also lead to virtual realities and augmented realities, as you can see, and also motion graphics. Now the world is really moving, and innovation is really on the high side. So it's very pertinent that you align yourself when it comes to this. Understand what the new tools are in the market, and understand how to use most of these tools as a graphic designer, so you will not be obsolete in your design and your approach. Now we'll also be looking at some for the purpose of this course and this very class, we'll be using these three tools. Now the three of them are online web platform based, and the first is Canva. So we're going to be using Canva to achieve our design. We'll be using remove background to remove background of whatever object it is we're going to be using for our designs. And thereafter you have WhatsApp, which you can also use to generate some major AI images. All right, so let's delve into some aspect of graphics in this case. Now the first on the list is promotional graphics. As you can see clearly, and when it comes to promotional graphics, you understand the fact that you're trying to promote a product. So this is very important. You are promoting a product, so that should guide how and what you look out for in your design. As you can see, now the next on the list is a real estate graphic. So assuming I'm preparing a real estate graphic, or as a graphics designer, you must understand the flow of idea when it comes to selling land, because that's what real estate is all about: selling land and mining, whatsoever. All of them is focused on selling properties and the rest of them. So you must understand you must understand and convey the right idea in your graphics. The next on the list is, if you are a foodie, understand how to do some kind of enticing graphics, as you can see in the screen. Now all of these crave the appetite of your audience, or of your client, or of your customer, prospective customer, if it's a brand. So as a graphic designer, you must understand how to do all of this. As a graphic designer also, you must understand how to do branding of graphics. Very important. Branding. You preparing for a program or whatsoever, roll-ups and the rest of them, t-shirts, printing customized t-shirts and the rest of them, cover and book cover and the rest of them, program list and the rest of them. You must understand how to do branded graphics. The next on the list is also product graphics. You must understand how to place all these modeling, because when you talk about effects of product graphics, it involves modeling. So you must understand how to model very well as a graphic designer, because it's going to pay you lots of good. Like as you can see on the screen, this orange at the right hand part of your screen doesn't exist, where you have the can feature on this orange tied to its tree. This doesn't exist in life, but you're able to create some virtual realities and augmented realities. All right, thank you for this wonderful course. So I believe you've been able to learn one or two things so far from this course, and moving forward, if you have any question, we'll gladly attend to it. Just leave it in the comment section, and we would gladly attend to every of your question. For those of you who are aspiring graphic designer, or you have somebody that this video is going to help, please don't forget to share this video, so that it's also going to be helping someone who wants to venture into graphics, or who is already practicing but wants to become much more better. All right, now you are going to be having a classwork here. We would need you to go ahead and use this very tool, the Canva, the remove background, and I think basically both of them, to design the promotional graphics, as you can see in the right hand part of your screen. And once you're done, you share it alongside in the WhatsApp group, of which link or whose link is going to be dropped in the comment section. So if you go to this comment section, you're going to see the link to the WhatsApp group. You can drop it there, so we know the level of your progress so far that you have been attaining. So thank you so much. Don't forget to share this video. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and also share this video, because it's going to be helping someone. Until then, see you in the next video.